Have you ever had a season in life where everything got quiet? Like nothing's really wrong, but you can just feel it. Because when life is moving fast, you don't have time to think. You just go, you train, you lock in, you chase, you grind, and you wake up every morning with direction. But the second life forces you to slow down, your brain gets loud. And what people don't understand is that when your purpose feels unclear, that's when perfectionism gets dangerous. Because you start thinking, what's my next move? What's the right direction? What if I waste time? What if I choose the wrong thing? What if I'm building the wrong life? And I've been there. When life made me slow down, it wasn't just about sports. It was the first time that I realized I didn't know who I was without that thing I had been chasing all my life. So what did I do? I tried to think my way into a perfect future. I tried to plan my purpose. I tried to map out my identity, and I tried to create the perfect direction. But here's the truth. Perfectionism is not high standards. It's fear of wearing a suit. And it doesn't protect your life, it actually delays it. Because the goal isn't finding the perfect path, the goal is to start walking so your path can be revealed. So, real quick, let's define it. Perfectionism is the belief that there is a perfect solution, a perfect goal, a perfect plan, a perfect decision. Like, if you think hard enough, the grind long enough, and analyze deep enough, you'll find the perfect answer that makes you feel safe. But that's not how it works. And what people don't understand is I didn't just develop perfectionism. Perfectionism is what created me. It's who I am. Because growing up as an athlete, that's literally the culture. It's not that was good enough. It's that could be better. It could be cleaner. It could be sharper. You could be faster. You could be stronger. You should be more disciplined. And I'll be honest, my mentality growing up and even to this day is if I'm not the best, then I'm nothing. And that mindset drove me all the way through, and it still drives me to this day. It made me obsessed, and I'm still obsessed with every single small mistake, not just in sports, but in life. Because when you do something great as an athlete, there's still something you can improve. You could have pushed a little harder. You could have executed a little bit cleaner. You could have been a little more locked in. So that chase, it just becomes who you are. And I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm never going to stop chasing greatness because that's not who I am. But here's the problem. At some point, chasing perfection starts doing more harm than good. Because I came to the realization when everything I had ever chased in life disappeared. And now the drive that used to fuel me, it turned into pressure. It turned into constant overthinking, and it turned into a mental prison. Because when perfectionism moves from sports into life, it can stop being a tool and it becomes a trap. And this is what I need people to see. Perfectionism isn't always loud. Sometimes it shows up in things like starting over consistently, or comparing yourself to everyone around you, or shutting people out because you're locked in or focused. But here's the truth. You might not be locked in, you might be locked up. And I'm telling you this because I've lived it. Master Oogway said it best, and it's one of my favorite quotes of all time. And he said, yesterday is history, tomorrow is a mystery, and today is a gift. That's why it's called the present. Perfectionism keeps you trapped in yesterday, and it keeps you terrified of tomorrow. So you can never truly and fully live in today. You can't live in the present. And that's why this matters, because perfectionism doesn't protect your future, it steals your present. Now listen, I want to be real about this because I'm not one of those people that's going to sit here and act like perfectionism is all bad. Perfectionism gives you something. It gives you a scoreboard. It gives you something to chase. It gives you a sense of control if you do it right. And for someone like me, growing up as an athlete, the scoreboard is literally everything. Because when you have a scoreboard, you don't ever have to wonder if you're doing enough. You don't have to guess. You can just look at the result. You either improved or you didn't. You either worked harder or you didn't. You either got better or you didn't. And I'm proud that that's a part of me. And I'm proud of the high standards that I set for myself. I'm proud of the hard work that I can say I put in every single day. And I'm proud that I never settle. That mindset has built me, and that mindset has made me dangerous. But here's what I realized along the path. Perfectionism doesn't just push you, it can also poison you. Because there was a point in my life where perfectionism stopped feeling like motivation, and it really did start feeling like pressure. It made me feel constantly like I was behind, especially when I had no sense of direction. Because when you don't know where you're going, your brain starts grabbing onto whatever it feels that it can control. So perfectionism becomes that thing that you cling to. It becomes your identity, and it becomes your proof that you're still valuable. And here's the difference. Perfectionism works in sports because if you're one step closer to perfection than your opponent, you're the best. You get recognized, you win, and you level up. But perfectionism becomes toxic in real life because real life doesn't have one clear cut scoreboard. Real life has a million roads. And what happens a lot of the time is instead of comparing yourself to your own potential, you start comparing yourself to everybody else. But they're not on your road. They don't have your timing. They don't have your struggles just like you don't have their struggles. They don't have your purpose and they don't have your calling just like you might not have their calling. So to compare your journey to their journey, it's not fair to you and it's not fair to them because we're all living different stories and we're all in different chapters. And perfectionism becomes poison the second that you forget that. And that's why I want to be clear. Perfectionism isn't the enemy. Unmanaged perfection is. Chasing greatness is powerful and it can be one of the greatest tools that you have. But if perfection is driving the car, you'll never enjoy the ride and you'll never take that next step that you need. So the goal isn't to lower your standards. The goal is to keep your standards high and keep your life moving along the way. Let me say the biggest lie that perfectionism told me when life got quiet. And it was that if I don't know my purpose, then I don't have one and I don't have any worth. And that's what was being whispered to me every single day. It makes you feel like if you don't have a clear destination or one clear cut goal, some perfect goal or the perfect 5 year plan, then you're wasting your life away. And that's why perfectionism is and can be so dangerous when you're in a season of uncertainty. Because instead of letting uncertainty be a normal part of who you are becoming, you start treating it like it's proof that you're failing. And I need you to hear this. Feeling lost does not mean you are broken. I'm going to say that again. Feeling lost does not mean that you are broken. It means you're human. It means you're growing and taking that next step. It means you're between versions of yourself. We're not the same person we were in high school or middle school or elementary. And that's just the way life goes. And the problem is that perfectionism doesn't allow that mindset. It doesn't allow that growth because it makes you feel like everything is super urgent and needs to be done yesterday. And if you don't do it today, then tomorrow's going to be too late. It makes you think, I have to have my whole life figured out right now so I know what I'm doing. But here's the thing. Stop deciding your whole life in one decision. That's not how this works. That's not how life works. Nobody makes one perfect choice and suddenly becomes clear and perfect forever. Life is not one decision. Life's a million decisions. And the purpose isn't that purpose isn't something you find one day. Purpose is something you build repeatedly every single day and every single step, one step at a time. So when you feel lost, here's what I want you to do. I want you to break it down into one simple step. Not your whole life, not your whole future, not the pressure of what you should be doing by your age. One step. Because when people feel lost, they don't need that perfect plan. They don't need to know everything that's going to happen. All they need is momentum. They need the next move, and they need proof that they can still build even if they didn't build yesterday. And the truth is, you're not behind. You're not late. You're not out of time. You're just trying to solve lifetime in a single moment. And that's not faith, that's fear. So stop holding your future hostage and just take the next step. So if you're listening to this and you're thinking, okay, I get it, I'm stuck, I overthink, I chase perfect, but how do I break it? Here it is. There's three simple steps. Not 20, not 100. It's not a complicated system. Three simple steps. Step one, you need to detach your worth from the outcome. And when I say that, it's not a negative thing. But step one is you need to detach your worth from the outcome. And this is where it starts. Because perfectionism isn't really about the plan, it's about your identity being attached to a result. You think if I fail, I'm a failure. If I'm not the best, then I'm nothing. If this doesn't work, then I'm behind. And that mindset is going to keep you trapped forever and it's never going to stop. So the first step is you have to separate who you are from what happens. Your worth is not the outcome of a single decision. Your worth isn't a scoreboard. Your worth isn't what people say. Because the truth is, you can do everything right and you'll still probably lose. You can give your best and still get rejected. You can take the risk and it still might not work out the first time, and it's probably not going to. That doesn't mean you're not called. That doesn't mean you're not capable. That doesn't mean you don't have purpose. And that doesn't mean you're not chosen. It just means that you're human. That's part of life. So, step one is internal. Stop making the outcome the judge of your own value. Now we're going on to step two, which is take the first step. Now that you've detached your worth, you have to move because perfectionism survives in your head. It survives in one day. It survives in planning and thinking. So, what kills thinking and maybe tomorrow and planning? And it's simple. Action kills that. If you're moving, then you're not going to have as much time to think. Not some It doesn't have to be some massive leap. This action does not have to be huge. It's literally the first step. It's just one move, one rep, and that's exactly where the jackpot rule comes in. Because perfectionism wants you to solve your whole life in one decision, but this jackpot rule, it reminds you you don't need a perfect plan. You need a 7-second decision. Stop thinking and just choose a direction. Then you need a 7-minute action to prove to yourself that you're serious. And then you need the 7-hour mindset to stay moving even when you don't feel ready. Those are the keys. Because in life, you don't get saved by one perfect decision. You get saved by repeated movement, small movement, daily movement, and momentum. And that's why I say this all the time, and I'm going to keep saying it over and over again. Clarity doesn't come before action. Clarity comes from action. So all you need to do is take that first step. Even if it's messy, even if it's imperfect, and even if it doesn't work out, take the first step. And that'll lead us into step number 3, which is become the kind of person who works, not waits. Because the truth is, perfectionism is a personality. It becomes how you live. So this isn't just about a decision, it's about your own identity. You've got to become the top of persons that you've got to become the type of person that ships, the type of person that moves, the type of person that doesn't wait around for perfect. Because waiting is a drug and waiting feels safe. But waiting makes you it kills your purpose. Even if you feel like you're still in control, the more you wait, the less purpose you're going to feel and the deeper into that hole you're going to get. So you have to build a new identity for yourself that says, I'm a worker. I am a builder. I'm the kind of person who takes steps. I'm the kind of person who acts with uncertainty. And if you want an athlete comparison, you don't get game ready by thinking. You hear all the time about how the greatest athletes, when they perform their highest achievements, they don't even remember what's happening or they're not thinking about what they're doing. They're just doing it. And that's true in real life too. You don't get ready for life by thinking about it. You get ready for life by living it. And you don't become great by visualizing perfection. No matter how much you visualize it, if you're not making a move and not taking a step, It's never going to happen. You get good and you become great and you really advance and improve by reps. How many shots do you miss in practice before you make one? You're going to fail. You'll get embarrassed, and out of all of that, you're going to learn. And once you learn, then you become dangerous. And that's what life is. And that's what perfectionists avoid. They want to be game ready before the game, but the only way to be game ready is to step in the game. So here's what we're doing, because I don't want this to just be another episode you listen to. I don't want you to just feel motivated for 10 minutes and then go back to the same life. That's not what I'm trying to do. We're building a new identity, so I'm going to give you a challenge. Your 24-hour challenge is this. Pick one thing you've been stuck on. One decision, one goal, one move, not your whole life. Literally just one step, one teeny tiny choice or decision. And you're going to break it down using the jackpot rule. So, step 1 is your 7-second decision. You're going to write down your decision that you keep avoiding. And it has to be simple, not something like I'm going to fix my whole life. It's going to be something more like I'm going to apply for this thing, or I'm going to go to the gym, or maybe I'm going to post that video, or I'm going to start that program, or it could even be something as simple as I'm going to reach out to this person. But make sure you write it down, because perfectionism loves staying in your head, and writing it down turns it into something real. Step 2, you're going to take a 7-minute action. So within the next 24 hours, you're going to make the first decision and you're going to make the first move. And listen, when you're trying to do this, perfectionism is going to hit you hard. And it's going to tell you, I need to adjust this, or I need to adjust this. You're going to get scared and you're going to overthink it. And you're going to start imagining every single outcome, worst case scenario. And when this happens, I want you to know that it's okay. It's okay to be nervous. It's okay to be scared. You can still move scared. That's the thing that most people, when they're thinking too much, they don't realize is it's okay, and you can still move if you're scared. You don't need confidence to take the first step. You need courage. And there's a big difference between confidence and courage. So just make the next move. Set a timer if you have to for 7 minutes. No over planning, no perfect setup, just action. And I want you to write it down and write down what time you made the decision and what time you made the action. And then step number 3 is the 7-hour mindset. And then I want you, in this time frame, in the 7 hours, I want you to write this down next to the other things that we've talked about so far. I want you to write down, how do I feel now that I moved? What changed? Not in your whole life, but in your mind. Because this is what happens every time you move. You stop feeling trapped. You stop feeling like you're behind. You stop feeling powerless or useless, and you start remembering that I'm the type of person who acts. You change your mindset from I can't do it to what is next, and it's huge. It makes a huge difference. So now, here's your accountability. If you're listening to this, I want you locked in with me. I want you to go follow me on YouTube or follow me on Instagram right now, because it's not just about the content. This is about the training. And I want you to do these challenges with me every single day, 3 times a week for the next however long we're doing this. So let me end with this. Perfection has stolen years from people. And when I say that, I mean it. It's literally stolen years away from people because they're waiting for the perfect moment or the right time. Not because they weren't capable of making the move, but because they kept waiting for that perfect time, for the perfect plan, for that perfect confidence, and for the perfect direction. But life does not reward waiting. The longer you wait, the farther behind you're going to get. So overthinking isn't going to help you at all. Life rewards the people who move. You're not going to find your purpose sitting still. You're not going to become the person you're meant to be if you're hiding. Your future is on the other side of action. So stop treating one decision like it's your whole life. Pick one step and move, even if it's messy, even if you're scared, even if it's not perfect, because perfection is not the goal. Progress is the goal, movement is a goal, and becoming is the goal. And now, if nobody's told you this lately, I want you to hear me out on this. I believe in you. You need to believe in yourself like I believe in you. So now go prove it to yourself. This is episode 1. Perfectionism isn't evil, but if you let it control you, it'll keep you stuck forever. So take the challenge, one step, jackpot rule, and move today. Next episode, I'm going to give you the mindset that sets perfectionists free. And I'm super excited. Next episode, we're going to be doing it with my wife, and there's going to be a lot of good stuff coming. So the next episode is all about the move first mindset, or the project mindset, as we like to call it. And it's how to chase perfection the right way. By understanding it'll never be perfect, but it still has to get done, because progress does not come from waiting, it comes from reps. I'll see you guys in episode 2.